Now we're going to take our half drop skills to the next level. So this is where things start to get really fun. So let's grab our sketches from before and we'll Command C, copy, and Command V for paste. Okay. And I'm gonna just go ahead and delete those, zoom in a bit. Let's shrink that back down because we're going to be putting a bunch of different motifs in here this time and arranging them all half drop like. And I brought in our color palette from previous videos, so that's ready and here for us to use. And let's create a background color just to make it a little prettier to work with. So let's do, how about, let's make it a dark one, and we will lock that. Lock selection, Command 2 is the keyboard shortcut for that. All right, and I know since I just made my square after I brought these shapes in, that'll be in front. So let's actually just make sure all these motifs are right at the front. So Object Arrange, bring to front. And when you're arranging a half drop, what you want to do is make sure that you stay away from a good chunk of the right edge, because if you remember from the last video, we'll be bringing everything over from the left to the right and copying it half a step up and half a step down. So stay away from the right edge and also the bottom, since we'll be copying everything down from the top to the bottom in exactly the same spot. So that just makes it easier so you're not copying things in both directions. So I'm just going to work pretty quickly here and just kind of recolor things in some sort of fashion and get a bunch of motifs in here so we have something to arrange and work with. And I'll start just kind of spinning things around. At this point, I'm not too concerned with where things are. I'll start arranging things shortly. Let's see. Just to make things go a little bit faster, I'm gonna just make this all kind of one color here. Okay, that'll be fine for now. We can shrink that down a little bit. And how about that color? Let's just delete that one because I don't really feel like dealing with it. And let's see here. I'm going to bring in a new color as well. And I'll drag that over just so I've got it in my palette. Okay, and I'm already doing what I said not to do, so I overlapped that on the bottom. Let's overlap that on the top instead. Okay, so you can get as fancy as you want here with overlapping shapes, of course. So you can, you know, put the leaves underneath the flower shapes, Command X, Command B for paste in back. You can copy and paste these, and again, to copy and paste, the quick way, I'm just holding down my Option key as I click, hold, and drag. We'll move that to the front. So you can see how things can start to get complex pretty quickly here. So let's see, I don't have any of this light color, so let's do that. Shrink that down. Let's delete that because it doesn't look great. Shrink that down, rotate. let's see. Let's copy this one. All right, so I'm getting close to that right edge, so I'm gonna just kind of steer clear of that and make a couple more copies of various things. Let's see, let's copy that. So you can see once you know what you're doing and everything starts to be a little bit more second nature, it goes pretty quickly actually placing these things. Let's make some more things in that new kind of teal color. Fun trick to make new shapes is to just layer things that are all kind of the same color together, so you know it can look like that was drawn as one shape when in fact it's a few different things put together. Okay. We need some more of that pink. And you can use any of the techniques that we used before when we were learning how to make more complex straight repeats when you are putting half drop repeats together too, adding texture, adding patterns in the background or within your shapes, all that stuff applies here as well, of course. Okay. Let's see. Let's do some more copies of this kind of petally shape. One more over here. Okay. That's looking good enough for right now, I think. And of course, now that I said that, I'm probably going to keep going for another minute. Moving things around, copying, pasting, oops, rotating. Okay, so let's start with that and just see what happens. So the first thing that I'll do is copy these motifs that are overlapping on the top. We'll move those down to the bottom. And actually the first thing I'll do is lock my background. Okay, then we will select these and we will move them horizontally 8. We want them to go straight down just like normal. Vertically 8 and copy. Okay, and as you can see, I will need to do some shifting around of shapes, but no biggie. Add another one here just to fill in that little area. Okay, so now here is where the important half drop piece comes in. So we're going to take everything that's overlapping on the left here and we'll double click our black arrow tool and let me move this over here. We'll move it over horizontally 8 just like normal, but now instead of vertically 0, which we normally do for a straight repeat, we are going to, let's start by going down. So that'll be half of 8 is 4 and copy. Okay, so now we've got everything from the left placed where it needs to be placed on the right. And let's move that a little bit since it's overlapping. So once you do this, if you have things that are too close to the right edge, you may just need to do a little bit of moving and wiggling things around, which is okay. And then we'll do the same thing again from the left side. Double click. We'll move horizontally 8 again. This time we're going to go up, which is a negative number, up that half step, so -4, copy. And there we go. So now you can see my shapes are, you can kind of see that half drop formation beginning. Everything is placed where it needs to be properly on the right side. Some of these shapes are not overlapping anywhere, so you can actually just delete those. This orange shape is the only one that ended up overlapping top to bottom, but those are lined up nice and straight, so that's perfect. And then you can see we ended up with kind of this funny hole here. So we can just go ahead and fill that in with whatever we want. Let's put a leaf there. And maybe another one of these. And how about one more of these? So I'll show you a trick. This is something that can be a little confusing if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So I just copied this over, and it's actually overlapping on the right edge. So it's not overlapping anywhere on the left edge. So since I just added that, I'm going to need to copy that over to the proper place on the left side now. So the way that I'll do that is exactly the same, just in the opposite direction. So we'll be moving -8 to the left is a negative number, vertically down half a step for copy. And it looks like that's going to be enough. It's not overlapping the bottom edge at all, so we don't need to copy it up as well. If we did copy it up, I'll show you what will happen just so you have a visual. So we'll move that up, which is a negative number. So it's not overlapping our artboard at all. So that one you just don't actually need to do. So let's unlock everything and test this out. So this is our pattern tile, our half drop pattern tile. So the first thing we'll want to do is copy, paste in back our background square, take out all the color. There's our blank magic square, which we absolutely need. Make sure it's in the back. Select everything. Remember, for the half drop method, you cannot drag it over to the swatches palette the way that I have been showing you how to do with a straight repeat. That won't work. The only way that it will work in the Creative Cloud version of Illustrator, which I am currently using, is to go to Object, Pattern, Make, and choose Brick by Column, which is the exact same thing as half drop, and click Done. And everything will turn back to normal. And then you can test your swatch by, let's make it really big, filling your square, your big square, with your new swatch that you made. So you can see it's working perfectly. So the nice thing about half drops is it's a really nice way to make your pattern, to make where the repeat is actually happening in your pattern a bit less obvious. So you can see that if you saw this in a store or in a fabric store or something, and you were trying to pick out where the repeat is and how it actually works and is put together, it would be harder to figure out than if, for example, all of the flowers were just repeating in straight lines, that kind of thing. So it's just a little bit more visually complex and interesting for the eye, and harder to pick out where the repeat is. So that can just be a really handy and useful way to design and elevate what you're doing, and just make yourself look like more of a pro, I guess. So there are also ways that you can fake this. You can do like a faux half drop, and I will show you how to do that in the next video. To be perfectly honest, I don't actually make proper half drop repeats very often anymore. I tend to make faux half drop repeats if I'm going to do something like this. So for whatever that's worth, I think it's very important to understand this process and understand how it's laid out and how a half drop is actually put together. And that said, you don't actually have to do it if you don't want to. So I think it was Picasso who said you have to know the rules in order to break them. And that's kind of, I think, the philosophy that applies here. So learn this technique, figure it out. It's really fun. It's like putting together a really complicated puzzle, and then you can break all the rules and do it the faux way. That's coming next.